people. Que pasa, sakpa, say what they do. Welcome to Crime Time News, where the difference is in the meds. Call it news with a buzz. This one is called Where Alcohol, Where Ignorance, Arrogance, where people that have ego is involved, it always leads to some sorts of tragic situation. I am speaking about an incident that occurred in a place called Anova, where it is said that a family, including a man, his name is Avado Samuels, they were having a wake for a nephew of this man that lost his life. He was to have his final send-off 24 hours or so after that. However, tragedy struck. Based on the information, it is said that at about 4 a.m., the Popo pulled up on the spot. The Popo instructed the people that, listen, party done, turn off the set, wanna go on the yard. It is said that this man, Mr. Samuels, who was under the influence of J-Ray and nephew at the time, went in front of the Popo and tell the Popo, say, listen, may I turn down the music. There was some sorts of verbal altercation. It turned physical. It is said that the Popo jumped out of the vehicle, one of 3 Popos that were there, jumped out of the vehicle, clapped the man a box across his face. I tried to drape up the man wiggle out of marina, take for himself, run up the hill. He was then chased by the Popo again, 3 of them in the vehicle, in the van. Them hold on upon him. Some other sorts of altercation ensued again. It is said that him clapped the Popo in his head with some sorts of buckle. So therefore the other 2 Popo, them hold him up, them drape him up, them girt him up, one hold him upon him left hand, one hold him upon him right hand, and then the Popo clapped him in a theme head with some sorts of buckle and vowed that he was going to take him out, and so did. I am going to let you take a listen, take a look to what family members and friends had to say, giving their side of the story. And remember, as usual, there's always 2 to 3 sides to the story: the Popo side, the family and friend side, and the truth. Take a listen to what they have to say, and then I'll give my piece.
Listen, so it's a wait. You are dead. This man. You wanna dead first. This man, my uncle is. So in their nephew, wait. Walter's come back over there at 4:30, 4:30, 4:25. Them the time. Yeah, him the try. So him the lead the squad. The youth said to him, say, Walter's a lock with a lock car. The youth said, Walter's a pack with a pack up and they go on. And she turn on the blue like the youth said. But the turn on the blue like a 2 bus on the in front of him. But you just walk back at the vehicle and say, Walter, let's have fuck with the fuck of the blow. Because the blue light is in a yard. Walter started the jeep and come out and say what you say again. Power the youth to box and brother.
Just like that, you know.
The youth boxing back. The youth again. So in the youth back like this. The youth is on the counter. The youth took up and run back like Walter's in a head tap. The other 2 of them on the jeep, them jump out. Them jump out and hold. One hold one on the right hand, one hold the left hand. And make Walter to get back another run back lamb. Post up in the youth head. Then they beat the youth. And the youth was a woman flash. We is a Walters, we is a couple of them after the youth. And the youth run out. One of them run up back at the youth and hold the youth. And Walter said, I have to kill you. See the other police are in there. Just step out same time to go to gun and conquer. How many bars are not killing you? How many bars are not killing you?
Not killing.
You still shoot the youth and drive it. Where you left with you?
2 shots fire and they say a shoot out.
Where you left with you? That one, where you left
with you? And the 2 shots in the youth.
In the youth.
2 shots in the youth. I don't say a shoot out.
A shoot out. And so on the news, they say it's 2 on the vehicle. Where the vehicle was stolen? The vehicle parked up today. This man, what is that?
Not a scratch,
not a scratch. They say if we don't get justice, And the justice I want, if he dead back, that is the justice I want.
Because
that is it.
My brother first for them to clean boat and take away boy $1,000.
Down a bridge.
He get $5,000.
Give them money. And yet
I
they
said,
still
"Girl,
kill
I
you.
drink rum." And you come back and kill the youth after 4 now.
Oh, that, well, if we do. As a
Give your
young
money if you drink rum. Say, "Girl, I drink money." And
Well,
I
if we
say,
do.
this is not enough. He says so to you, but you know, give you the money. You got already.
Well, if
And
we
come
do.
back and kill
As a
you.
warrior.
Eh?
You left me play violence. I have been war in the
When you
community.
come down, I protect and serve. I protect and serve them.
To kill.
Now, people, this is my disclaimer before I proceed. 3 sides to the story. Told you the Popo side. Popo claim say them go there, them tell the people them for lock off the thing. They had no sorts of permits. So therefore, they were wrong for keeping any sorts of wake without a permit. However, Jamaica is a very informal place. A lot of times, people don't even know the steps to take to get a permit. People just keep it. The problem was not the wake. The problem was the time that the wake was extended to. This was a wake for a nephew, and then the uncle lost his life. People, it is very tragic. Based on what the Popo is saying, when they told the people to lock off the sound and go to them yard, this man became very boisterous. They said that he was under the influence of J-Ray and nephew. The family member admitted to it. They said that them chase him down. Him lick the Popo with some sorts of buckle. The Popo box him at first, and then him box back the Popo. People, as a Popo officer, you are not supposed to disrespect anybody. It is out of bounds if you're going to just drape up a man and box him because he says something to you, especially when that man is under the influence of J-Ray and nephew. The fact that the man lick him in his head with a buckle, the man was DEAD wrong. The man was out of place. However, you are the professional. I am speaking about Mr. Walters and his squaddy. Them hold the man, them have the man, them submit the man, have the man in a custody, and then you get back a buckle, and your friend them a go hold the man, and then you lick back the man in head with a bottle. That was no sorts of parts of any sorts of training protocol in the police school. That is you getting in your feelings because your ego was bruised and your friends were there. You are not going to take any sorts of disrespect, just like how the criminal them act. That is how you are going to act. The Popo licking back in him head. The Popo are the man with box the man first and the man box back the Popo. Now people, don't get it twisted, because I understand that sometimes when you people listen to these knucklehead bloggers on YouTube, only think a certain way, only brainwash. Truth and rights is truth and rights, and whenever you are wrong, whether you are law enforcement, you are supposed to act professional. So therefore, the Popo actually vowed Mr. Walters that he was going to KILL the man, Mr. Samuels, before him and him friend pie up the man. People, if you don't see anything wrong with this, you are a part of the problem, not a part of the solution. You cannot hold a suspect even if the suspect act boisterous, even if the suspect fling some sorts of buckle. Yes, at the time, if you rush you with the buckle and your wheel and pop off, that would have been deemed to be justifiably, because you could have set your life in a danger. However, after you get the licking of your head, you then did back the same thing, and then your wheel and pop off in a rage, in a ANGER, and con up the man. Something is definitely wrong with that. And the most disturbing thing about the whole thing is that after them con up the man, They then drove off. They did not stay. They did not call any sorts of paramedic, any sorts of emergency vehicle, which they are not paramedics, but they are the po-po. They drove off and leave the man for DEAD. They also claim, based on what the residents and the friends are saying, the po-po claims that the people them start stone the vehicle, so that is why they leave. If that is true, that would be justified. However, people, based on all that we are hearing, based on the allegations that the man, Mr. Samuels, gave Mr. Walter some money before for kind of buy out the thing, bribe out the thing. So therefore, if what these people are saying is true, that the po-po took the $5,000 bribery, how is it now they are going to come back and claim, say, the people them never have any sorts of permit for the wake? You knew beforehand. You got the money, you took the money, you never gave back the money and say, at this year, this po-po, you take it and then you come back with your squaddies and then you take with the man. People, this is my disclaimer. Whenever you live in Jamaica and you confront any sorts of po-po, it is not any sorts of AR that you are going to ever win, especially when they are 2 or 3 deep. Especially when they have that badge, especially when they have the tool, especially that M to the 16. It makes them feel more powerful. It gives them the right to violate your rights. The sad thing about this whole thing is that, based on what the po-po said, if there's no sorts of video evidence of the confrontation of the SHOOTING that I have never seen, it is going to be the po-po words against the words of the citizen. And we all know the government that we have, and your wholeness, don't give a damn about justice. And we know that the commissioner of po-po, he is always going to back the po-po. So even if these po-po were wrong and get charged, they are going to get the best lawyers, the Samuels, the Champagne that money can buy, and they are going to go to court after a very delayed trial, and they are going to beat it, whether it is going to be on some sorts of technicality. The fact that this man lit the po-po in his head with a buckle, and the po-po more than likely is going to go to the hospital and say, see ya, see how him lit me in my head. This is going to be justifiably, you know, me I talk about KILLING without a shadow of a doubt, even though you and I and any sensible, rational, truthful person would know that this could have easily been avoided. Better heads are thinking could have prevailed if people were not DRUNK, if person did not have an ego that is bruised, if persons did not understand that they are not supposed to abuse their power. However, the fact that there is so much wrong involved, there is not a clear-cut person that is a victim or who was the ATTACKER. You know the advantage is always going to go to the po-po. The DPP will not take up this case. The DPP will not charge this person. Now I also have a video with the residents, the friends and family staging some sorts of peaceful protests in an Anova square close to the po-po station. But in my estimation, I think that this family, along with other families that were wrong, because of the fact that the man lit the po-po in his head with a buckle, there was no sorts of permits. Because of the fact that they are going to claim that the people them start rush the vehicle with all sorts of big stone, don't know if there's any sorts of physical evidence, and mostly, if there's no sorts of video evidence, surveillance camera or footage to prove the point that the residents are making, I don't see them getting any sorts of justice. Do they deserve justice? Was the po-po wrong in some way? Yes. Was the man wrong also? Yes. People, 2 wrongs never make a right, and the popo are always going to get advantage in any situation like that. Point blank and period. Thanks once again for checking out my video. If you appreciate videos like this, please show your appreciation by liking, commenting, sharing and subscribing to my channel. That is how YouTube promotes videos like these to like-minded, sensible persons like yourself. And last but not least, please subscribe to my next channel the link is in the description of this video. Bless up.